What if I told you that the most important investment that you can make for an amazing, satisfying retirement has nothing to do with your 401k, your IRA, or your stock portfolio? In fact, if you don't plan to invest in it, your retirement could be absolutely ruined. So, what's the investment that you can't afford to ignore? It's your body. While most of us try to invest in our retirement accounts to have a life beyond our working years, many of us miss investing and making continual contributions to our health. Without it, and the ability to use our bodies and spend healthy energy, retirement is almost pointless. I want to talk about the deep and often ignored connection between your physical health and the quality, freedom, and the real cost to your retirement years. It's just a fact. Two people can retire with the same exact savings and have completely different retirements. The real difference between them? Their health. Ignoring our health is easy to do. Our lives are hectic in the pursuit of taking care of our families, meeting work demands, and saving for retirement. While work is everyday and constant, we don't seem to be able to make time to take a walk, work out, or go to the gym. Our fast food work lunch habits are often foods that can strain our hearts and contribute to changes like unhealthy weight gain. Sitting at a desk 8+ hours a day probably isn't helping either. In fact, medical literature reports that sitting at your work chair could put strain on your back and encourage weakness in muscles that protect our back and help us keep our balance when walking in the future. And that loss of balance is the cause of one of the leading injuries and fatalities as we get older: falls. So while your retirement accounts may be going up, your health may likely be going down. According to the CDC, chronic diseases are the leading drivers of healthcare costs, costs that, without health maintenance, can burden your retirement account through inflated healthcare costs, with some reports citing a 4x increase in costs caused by things like heart disease and stroke. More than 800,000 Americans pass away due to heart disease or stroke every year. In fact, it's attributed to over 1 in 4 fatalities. Diabetes. More than 38 million Americans have it, and another 98 million have pre-diabetes. Diabetes can carry into retirement, causing serious complications, including heart disease, kidney failure, and blindness. Physical inactivity. Lack of physical activity costs the nation over $192 billion a year. Again, costs that can be reflected in your own retirement expenses if they're neglected. And that's not to mention some of the natural changes that start to happen in your 40s and 50s. Changes that can be delayed with the right attention to your health now. Sarcopenia. That's a loss of muscle mass that started in your 30s, and the rate of muscle loss increases as you get older. Bone loss. Our bones get weaker as we get older, leaving us susceptible to broken bones when we fall. And high blood pressure, known as the silent killer. It creeps up on most of us as we get older. Little by little, or that lack of attention or investment in our health can get in the way of a life in retirement like this. You're 70 years old. You wake up without an alarm, lace up your hiking boots, and hit a trail with your grandkids. You travel to Europe and walk 10 miles a day, exploring cities you've dreamed about your whole life. You play pickleball 3 times a week, volunteer on weekends, and maybe even start that small business you've always talked about. That's one option. Or you're living a life of shuttling to doctor visits and being in a neighborhood where you're confined to your home because it's simply too taxing on your body to get to people and activities that you're interested in. Or you become the richest person in an assisted living facility. The retirees who thrive aren't necessarily the wealthiest by dollar amount. Instead, they're the ones who invest in the body to show up to retirement healthy. And what's having monetary wealth if you can't enjoy it or you're just giving it all to your doctor? Your lack of attention to your health now might be paying for your doctor's retirement, because healthcare is the #1 wildcard expense in retirement. Fidelity estimates that the average couple retiring today will need approximately $315,000 after Medicare just for healthcare costs in retirement. That is a staggering number. And that figure assumes average health. And if your health is below average, well, that number climbs fast. Some examples. The average diabetic spends over $10,000 a year more in medical costs than a non-diabetic. If you lose mobility, independence goes with it as well. Home modifications, mobility aids, and eventually in-home care or assisted living can run anywhere from $50,000 to over $100,000 a year. On the flip side, people in good health spend dramatically less. They use Medicare less. They need fewer prescriptions. They stay in their homes longer. They don't need assisted living until much later, if at all. Studies show that physically active older adults have 30 to 40% lower lifetime healthcare costs than their sedentary counterparts. That's not a rounding error. That could be the difference between financial security and financial stress in your 70s and 80s. With that in mind, your gym membership isn't an expense. Think of it as a hedge against a six-figure medical bill. And with the money you save, you can choose to travel. You can choose to be present with your grandchildren. You can choose to work if you want to. You can age in a place in your own home on your own terms for as long as possible, rather than transitioning to care facilities years before absolutely necessary. Health is wealth, and it works exactly like compound interest. Small, consistent investments in your health compound over time. Your financial advisor will tell you to start saving early, invest consistently, and let time do the work. Your doctor should be telling you the exact same thing, just about your body. If you found this helpful, give it a like and subscribe, and drop a comment below. What's the healthy habit that you're committed to building this year? I'd love to hear it. Thanks for watching.